there, I'm Chase Sr. Welcome into the show. Thank you so much for clicking on this video and supporting the channel. This is the San Francisco 49ers Report. My name is Chase Sr. Coming up on today's show, Niners trade rumors and trade buzz continues to be a big talking point for this football team going into the trade deadline, which is after Week 9, going into Week 10. Which players are the Niners tied to? I have a lot of thoughts on why I think the Niners should make a move. That's all coming up here over the next several minutes. I do want to begin here, though. Anytime we reach a new subscriber milestone, I want to say thank you to the faithful. I know I said thank you off the top, but this is truly a dream come true for me, talking about the NFL every day on a platform which has reached nearly 4 million people over the last month. The 49ers Report just surpassed 177,000 subscribers. So if you haven't subscribed, do so right now. Lock us in, and what we give you, free daily shows. So the trade buzz around San Francisco is real. And the Niners, according to a multitude of reports, are scouring the trade market, looking to upgrade their pass rush. There's also some sneaky buzz here in talking to some people out there. And I know that after the Nick Bosa and Fred Warner injuries, everybody's honed in on edge rusher and linebacker. But over the last couple of weeks, the Niners have also been monitoring the wide receiver market as well, looking at a team like the Green Bay Packers. They could also trade away potentially a Jawan Jennings or a Brandon Ayuk. Keep in mind that I think they're going to be busy going into the deadline, especially if they can pick up a couple of wins going into the deadline. And I just think that for John Lynch and this front office, trading specifically for a pass rusher is the move that the Niners need to make. If you shore up your defensive line, it makes the back end's job at the second level with the linebackers, at the third level with the secondary, a lot easier. And I know a lot of people are going to say, Chase, what about offensive linemen? Maybe you could get one of the Browns' interior offensive linemen to help out this struggling offensive line, which from a talent perspective as well, just isn't that good. But think about where Cleveland is at, right? They drafted Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders. They want to see what those rookie quarterbacks can do. They don't want them getting killed back there. And so I'd be surprised if a team like that trades away an offensive lineman. And why I think an edge makes sense, if you're able to get after the quarterback and you get a defensive end who's also good against the run, tremendously. It helps out your linebacking core. And if you can get pressure on the quarterback, your secondary and your corners, your safeties, they're not going to be dead ducks back there having to just hold up for so long if you can get to the QB. And so the 49ers in recent weeks have been tied to a handful of pass rushers. From Trey Hendrickson, the star for the Cincinnati Bengals, who is out Thursday in that game against the Pittsburgh Steelers as I record this show on Thursday. Bradley Chubb for the Miami Dolphins. Jalen Phillips of the Miami Dolphins. Arden Key of the Tennessee Titans. And what do you notice about all these teams? The Bengals have lost 4 games in a row. The Dolphins only have 1 win. The Titans only have 1 win. Arden Key, of course, a former Niner. And then you look at the winless Jets, Will McDonald and Jermaine Johnson, 2 really good and talented young pass rushers playing for the Jets who could look to sell going into the deadline to try to get back a bunch of picks. Then after the Packers, who are one of the top teams in the NFC, traded for Micah Parsons, it potentially makes some pass rushers expendable for Green Bay. The Niners are said to be interested in Rashawn Gary, according to multiple reports. He's in a contract year. Or a Kingsley Onigberry, who isn't really in the pass rush rotation, but has done some nice things as a pass rusher in his career. And the lack of pass rush for San Francisco is just killing this Niners team. And it's pretty crazy, right? Because without Nick Bosa, of course the Niners' pass rushing numbers have decreased, but they've also gotten so much worse against the rush. With Bosa, they were giving up like 3.3 yards per carry. Now they're giving up around 4.5 yards per carry. And look at these numbers here. I mean, the Niners only have sacks on 3.5% of dropbacks. That's 30th in the NFL. As a team, they only have 7 sacks. Nick Bosa had 2 of them. That's 31st in the NFL. And in week 6 against Tampa Bay, Baker Mayfield was pressured 12.6% lower than Mac Jones. So that goes to show you the Niners' offensive line stinks, but they also can't get after the quarterback with their defense. And there is a caveat with the Niners making a move. If they make a move, they want a player who can help them this year and next year while not sacrificing a bunch of draft picks for the future. They also don't want to screw themselves over financially. And that's exactly what Kyle Shanahan echoed this week. We're looking for things that make sense for our team right now and in the future. But I don't see a big difference between Sunday before that game started and today. It definitely hurts losing a guy like Fred Warner, but in terms of people who are available that can improve our team for this year and next year, I don't see that situation being that much different. Now, I disagree. Trade for Trey Hendrickson. Trey Hendrickson is on an expiring deal, but re-sign him this offseason, then he can be a part of your future. And how about a defensive line with Trey Hendrickson, Nick Bosa, and Mykel Williams, where they can all share the field at the same time because they can all play defensive end or defensive tackle. That's what I think the Niners' thinking should be. Now, I have more on this coming up here just around the corner, but we have a phenomenal deal that we want to tell you about thanks to our fine friends at Fanatics. This Niners polo, I'm a big polo guy. I wear polos all the time because it's a very versatile clothing item, right? And it serves so many different purposes. Plus, if it's a Niners polo that's looking clean like this, you got to take advantage of this deal. This Niners polo here to my right was $50. It's now on sale for $39, limited time only. But to get that discount, you have to use our link, chatsports.com/49erspolo. Then it'll take you to Fanatics. Now, another part of this trade conversation for San Francisco is this. I think the Niners' schedule results will dictate what the Niners' plans are for a trade. So you think about where the Niners are at right now, right? 4-2, atop the NFC West. They are the number 3 seed in the NFC. And you look at the games coming up. They are favored against the Atlanta Falcons on Sunday Night Football. Falcons are dangerous, but you're at home. You have the rest advantage. And this is a gotta-have-it game. You win that game, you're 5-2. They are not favored going up against the Texans. But that Texans team isn't the team that we thought it'd be coming into this year. You should be able to win that game. And I think Niner fans going to be able to take over the joint. Week 9, you go on the road against the Giants. Cross-country travel. The Giants are physical. They're feeling themselves right now because their rookies are playing well. Jackson Dart, Cam Scadaboo, Abdul Carter. But you're going to be favored in this football game too. So let's just say you can win 2 of the next 3 games to get you to 6-3. Then you're going into the deadline after week 9 going into week 10 at 6-3. You're 6-3. You're going to have a chance to win this division in a wide open NFC. And I'm of the belief, get into the dance and see what happens. Now, you might not be Super Bowl favorites, but with this coaching staff, with some of the playoff experience that you have, if you can host a playoff game in the wild card round, you get to the divisional round, you're a win away from the NFC Championship game. And I think it's important to get this young Niners team some playoff experience so that when you are ready to be bona fide Super Bowl contenders, they're not going to be shying away from the bright lights. You've got the Cardinals week 11, Rams week 10, winnable games. You welcome the Panthers to town, Monday Night Football, winnable game. On the road against the Browns, winnable game. Late bye to get healthy. Then for a stretch run, you play the Titans. You should be able to win that game. They're terrible. You're on the road against the Colts. Winnable game. Probably not going to be favorites because the Colts are good this year. Shane Steichen doing a hell of a job with Daniel Jones, but you should be able to win that football game. You can win against the Bears. You've already beaten the Seahawks. That game will be at home. So it's really all there for the taking for San Francisco unless they don't make a move. So John Lynch, I think you got to make a move for a pass rusher, and I hope San Francisco does. As far as players on the roster who the Niners could trade away, not players who they could trade for, I think Jawan Jennings could be moved. I think Brandon Ayuk could be moved. Wouldn't surprise me if one of the safeties is moved because the Niners like the young safeties on the team and Malik Mustafa and Marquise Siegel, and the emergence of Siegel, the return of Mustafa has made either Jason Pinnock or Jair Brown expendable? And Bill Barnwell, I guess you watched the show because I talked about this earlier this week. Jason Pinnock, an option to get traded away. The Buffalo Bills, they're not going to win a Super Bowl or beat the Chiefs with this defense right now. They need to get better. And could they make a trade for a player like Jason Pinnock? So Bill Barnwell's trade idea, the Bills get Pinnock and a 2027 7th-round pick, and the Niners get a 2027 6th-round pick. You trade away a player who you signed to a 1-year deal, you get a 6th-round pick back, and the Niners have hit on a lot of late draft picks. Here's Barnwell's reasoning. Safety has been an issue with a lot of the competitive teams around the NFL this season. There just aren't many rosters with serious safety depth that could justify a trade. One of the few exceptions is a team that has injury issues just about everywhere besides safety right now. The 49ers started Jason Pinnock in September, but that was always going to be a temporary solution. He fell out of the lineup altogether last week, with the Niners preferring rookie Marquise Siegel, third-year man Jair Brown, and the return of second-year safety Malik Mustafa. Pinnock's not going to transform the Bills' defense, but he has been passable as a center fielder as a pro and would offer the Bills some depth. Beanie Bishop had to briefly leave the Falcons game, leading the Bills to turn to 34-year-old veteran Jordan Poyer for a handful of snaps. Poyer was once an essential part of Sean McDermott's defense, but those days have come and gone. The 49ers would add a little bit of draft capital with this deal, something they could use to address one of the 8 or 9 positions on their roster that have been riddled with injuries this year. So that's the type of trade that I think could make some sense for San Francisco. You trade away a player like Jawan Jennings on an expiring year of his contract. You get value back for a player who might otherwise walk, and you could get something back for him. Whereas if you let him walk in free agency, you don't get anything back. So that's some thinking that should be going through the Niners' heads and some thoughts that come to mind for me. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button here on the San Francisco 49ers Report. We're bringing you daily Niners coverage that's informative, insightful, entertaining, thought-provoking, where you have a voice. So if you like this show, if all that sounds great, join the movement.